Ooh. See, this is a downside of... a major downside of including these kinds of cards. These cards are just blank. This hand contains no cards in it, effectively. Like, none of these do anything whatsoever. And obviously you can, you can mulligan and you can replace. And it is an unlikely hand to draw out of the many, many, many hands that you can possibly draw. But this is a downside of including lots of situational cards, and especially a mass of them. This sort of thing is exactly why people play one-offs. Like, don't be afraid of one-offs. One juxtaposition means you can't have this hand, ever. Yeah, you're less likely to have it if you're like, I need juxtaposition, but if you don't always need it, if you don't always have the situation for it, then that's okay. Hey, you got some entrance here. Yeah, in Furnace Flame, you absolutely can enter both. You're more than welcome to do so. So we've got two entrants for each so far. Just write that down. Right, onwards. So, yeah, I think you can replace basically anything of this hand. I would keep this. It is a creature. You can play it within a focus just to kill something. You can recur your opponent's spell to try and get some value. Like if they play a Second Wish or a Blood of Air, you can steal it. So I'd ship this and Juxtaposition to diversify the hand as much as possible. Like keeping double Jux punishes you harder if you don't draw anything that works with it. Ditto the Alcuins. So keeping one of each means you at least, if one card absolutely doesn't work, then you've only got one of it, and you can replace it later. Yeah, it looks like Muzzy did exactly that. Spot on. Draws nothing, but we have Lantern Fox in a focus for next turn. This is a bit awkward because the Fox fills up your hand, so I guess we're going to have to go Fox in a focus Juxtaposition to make space. This is fine though, because cycling these bad cards into Phoenix Fires is exactly what these cards are in here for in the first place. Wow, Rin0 also has no plays. I don't like the lack of tempo Geomancer there. I think Geomancer's Science Second Wish is an entirely reasonable play on that board. Geomancer. Dream Shaper. So what does Muzzy do here? I think you Fox in a focus. You could teleport it away. Can you possibly do in a focus, in a focus? I don't think so. No, you can't. Man, does anyone else remember when you had 2/4 Lantern Fox and 0 mana in a focus? The turn 2s you could get as Songhai were disgusting. Hey, more entrants. Using the Mist Dragon Seal, I like this. This means you guarantee space, and you get rid of some cards you don't need, basically. Even if this dies to a Falcius, you're still getting the Phoenix Fire out of it, so that's absolutely fine. That's what it's for. It's just here to generate more Phoenix Fires. And that's basically what these other cards are for. Like, they're just there to synergize with Fox and Scroll Bandit to generate other spells. So this Lightbender is looking mandatory right now, and I would take the liberty of punching the Lantern Fox. So that's looking like a very solid play. We deny a Phoenix Fire, very, very important. Swing the tempo a bit, also important. What's Alcuin Lawmaster on right now? We should probably leave this open so we can keep an eye on it. Inner focus, a bit awkward. That's a very good draw. Lets you spend 2 health to kill this without spending a card. Develop Arcane Heart. You can maybe put a Lawmaster on here to get a Gotatsu back, just cycling the Lawmaster, because Siphoron doesn't have amazing punishes for it, and then you can put an Arcane Heart behind you here or here somewhere safe. I like up here more because it allows you to play units over there. Well, I'm not sure I like this. I think I much prefer taking this Mana Tile with the Alcuin. Denying it from your opponent seems important too. They can play a 6-drop next turn, which could be a Mara Healer. That's very bad news for your Onyx Bear-Seal-less deck. Yeah, that's definitely happening. Oh, here we go. Looks like Muzzy's doing the play that I preferred. Nice. Yep, this is exactly as I would do it, with the exception that I think I would put the 1/1 up here. The other thing with playing the Arcane Heart here is that if Rin0 has a bad hand and wants the Blood of Air to clear your board, it doesn't actually work. Whereas down here, the Dervish can attack it. If it's up here, you're body blocking. It's unintuitive to play your Heartseeker in a more open spot, where your opponent's more likely to reach it, but it can still run away really easily. And it allows you to develop minions up here, even if your general isn't there. Finally playing the Dream Shaper. Just a Cosmic Flash. Yeah, this seems fine. And using the Bloodborne spell to shrink this, playing around Killing Edge and all sorts of whatever. That seems absolutely fine. Muzzy's hand's looking good here though. Got the Scroll Bandit. Ooh, the animations are all getting ahead of themselves. Scroll Bandit, Inner Focus. Deals 2 damage to this, and then you can Phoenix Fire it, I guess. Inner Oasis, not an amazing hit. And then this can back off. I think I prefer the Gotatsu here. Like, you can afford to punch this. You don't need to move Reva anywhere in particular. It's much better to draw the extra cards. Save the Phoenix Fire for burst combos. I would definitely move the Heartseeker into the corner. Yeah, like, Reva didn't even move there. Ooh. No, I like the Heartseeker going over here. Because if Rin can kill this with something, then they can just clear the Heartseeker for free. Not that Vet has amazing ways to do that, but still. You're also still vulnerable to a Blood of Air, which is always an emergency option. And like, Blood of Air, your 2-drop on your Heartseeker is something you just have to do a lot as Vet versus Songhai. So what's next? We have, I guess, Celebrant into Hailstone is kind of meh. Like, there's no... I think you have to Hailstone Cosmic Flash. You can put it here, which also plays around Bamboozle a bit, in the Scroll Bandit has to move. I don't like this as much. Cosmic Flash on this, in a position where the Scroll Bandit is going to hit it, is really awkward. Like, you're just letting Muzzy steal more of your cards. Which, like, there are Blood of Airs in the deck. The last thing you want to be doing is playing buff spells with your opponent having an active Scroll Bandit in position to steal a Blood of Air, potentially. Alchemist Lawmaster for Cosmic Flash. I don't know if there's much point to that. First Wish, that is amazing. If Songhai had this card, it would be busted. So I guess they're just cashing... Muzzy's just going to cash in this Heartseeker now to clear the 2-4. Rin's going to hope that the Dervish spawns here, so that this can be killed. Especially as Muzzy has an empty hand right now. That's very awkward, because it can't reach. This does provoke. Even the Dissension doesn't work, because it gets +1 power and it's backstabbing, so it still gets to... Oh wait, can it attack when it's a 0 power but it's in backstab position? Be an interesting role interaction to test. I do like this bounce. This is a good answer. But Muzzy is still looking pretty favoured here. I say that, the Obelisk's still active. Geomancer are always strong. Do you kill the 3-4 or the Obelisk? You go face. Smork. Yeah, this seems fine actually. Like, this 5-4 still has to be removed, although the Dervish will almost certainly be able to hit it unless it spawns here. No. So this 5-4 can be killed easily by these on board, and then Rin can develop another minion to get the sand tile value. Muzzy can run away from that though. Does Muzzy have lethal? We have 10 damage, so yes, basically. Rin has the body block. This is okay, I guess. I think I'd rather have killed the Geomancer with the 2 minions and backed off, put something in the way. Like, you're low on life here. You want to be able to protect yourself from as much burst as possible, which means avoiding the attack from Reva herself. It's kind of easy to underestimate how much that matters. Like, small attacks from bursty Songhai decks really add up, because the tipping point between I'm winning this game and I am dead is tiny. You know, they can do 10 or 12 or sometimes more burst, but sometimes they wouldn't be able to do that if they hadn't gotten an attack in on turn 4. Or are immediately able to attack now when pulling off their burst combo like we just saw. So Ren could have bought an extra turn if they'd body blocked with something. Right. As Muzzyrella, I would want... I think I would bring in Lightbenders. I would probably bring in the Primuses if there's space for them. Generally, probably shaving some of the positional cards. An Alcuin. I think you can afford to... Yeah, I think you can afford to raise the curve a little bit and try and ward off the aggressive pushes that Golem decks can make using these taunts. And you saw buff spells, you know, Cosmic Flash is easily answered by Lightbender as well as the Obelisks. So the Lightbender is very well positioned here. From Rin0's side, a Mara healer maybe comes in. It's just extra healing, and it's hard to deal with. You didn't see OBS from the opponent, so it might be good. Nothing else really excites me here. This hand's good. I think you can replace an Inner Oasis and just keep the rest. This is so useful against Fox, you need it. Turn 1 into turn 2 is nice. To be fair, maybe you ship both Inner Oases, but if you're... It's not unrealistic that you can play this on turn 1 and then this on turn 2, just jam Inner Oasis, and then neither of them die to Phoenix Fire. The other one was Sirocco? Yeah, the previous one was Sirocco. You're on the right spot now. It's Geomancer and Golem. You're good. So I think you replace one Inner Oasis and just be prepared to throw this one away as well. But I can see an argument for replacing both, because there's a pretty high chance that this dies. It is an easy Phoenix Fire target. Wow, I just went through all Duelyst streamers and no one has the in-game music on stream. Why? The music is so good, why no one shows it? I mean, I definitely am. I don't know if you can hear it. It shouldn't be muted. Oh, I don't like that replace. This Cosmic Flash is not worth keeping, and I would much rather this be able to access the lower mana tile, because Muzzy can easily deny this one. That said, Muzzy doesn't have the most amazing hand for mana tile denial. Just killing that is not amazing. I guess you don't really want to expose... Like, the Scroll Bandit can do a lot more work with Inner Focus in hand, so... That's pretty reasonable. We need custom music. I would spend so much time thinking about what to play, and then get annoyed at not being able to put my videos on YouTube because of copyright or whatever. Actually, I guess they're not monetized, so maybe it's fine. But honestly, I don't tend to play Duelyst with the music on, but I leave it on when I'm streaming. I think it's a nice background. It's really awkward there's no juxtaposition here. That's so sad. I really like the in-game music. Can you hear it? It is playing. Yeah, so burning a Mist Dragon and an Inner Focus here doesn't strike me as amazing. Like, the hand's pretty empty now. That Scroll Thief's gonna Scroll Thief. The Scroll Bandit's going to die. I don't know if I would bother with the Light Bender here. It is really low volume. Yeah, that's on purpose so you can hear me. I don't want to overwhelm the sound of my voice. I don't want to overwhelm the narration with it, basically. I think you can afford to not use Dissension here. I guess it protects the ghoulie from the Tatsu, which is not irrelevant. Looks like Rin did bring in the EMPs. It's a bit awkward because they're kind of slow. Oh wait, no, those are in the main deck. I'm thinking of somebody else. What do you do here as Muzzy? Oh, I don't like attacking this. Surely you clear the ghoulie. Oh, Arcane Heart, Inner Focus, Kinematic Projection? No, Mist Dragon Seal. Okay. Oh no, they are. They're playing the Kinematic. Wow, Muzzy, you have no cards left. What are you doing? I mean, this is pretty funky, but like... So to be... This actually ends up retroactively really strongly justifying the Bloodborne spell play last turn. Oh, interesting. Glitch there. In the use of the Dissension ended up forcing out the Mist Dragon Seal as well. Meaning Muzzy is really low on cards. The Geomancer can still turn this game into a win, but it's going to be much more difficult now. A lot of I don't know how much I like that. I guess it still has ranged. So it can attack. It can attack anywhere, even if you stay out of its lane. I don't think I like this attack here. You don't want to trade damage against the Songhai player. Like, because they rely on burst so much, having a high life total and running them out of cards is where you need to be exactly. Because when they have fewer cards in hand, they can't do as much burst damage. So you're lowering your life total on purpose for them, and that makes it much easier for them to win. This Obelisk makes for an okay body block here. That's a pretty good draw. You can do Celebrant into Sirocco for a decent amount of board, but I'd much rather play the Celebrant here and move away so you can't possibly get hit by this. I'll say can't possibly. You can double body block it. You still can, but... Oh, what? Ooh, I don't think I like that so much. I mean, oh, it works. You get a 2/7, you shrink this. This does still die if you include the Phoenix Fire from Muzzyrella. But this seems like a bit of a so-so play in terms of, you know, you're trying to choke your opponent. Oh, definitely don't attack them like that. You're trying to choke your opponent out of resources. I think what you want to do is just try and keep your life total as high as possible and sit there and play Sirocco and hide behind it. Muzzy is very close to lethal here. It's hard to justify replacing a Phoenix Fire. I think you still do, but you can also just, like, Phoenix Fire your opponent in the face with the Hero Power pass. No, it doesn't come up next turn. Yeah, I think you can replace one of the ones from hand, because there's quite a few things you can draw that'd be good. Like Mist Dragon Seal would be quite good. An Eternity Painter would be great. Like a Zendo or something if that came in. 8 gates, so close to lethal. I think you say go. You just pass. Maybe you get it for 10 damage now. And then hopefully top deck burst. Or survive 2 more turns. Your opponent certainly can't attack you after that. But there is an Obelisk in play. Just clearing the Obelisk. That's interesting. Muzzy forced to make a defensive play. So this is the downside of, like, Muzzy made multiple plays early on that spent 2 cards and only removed 1 or gained 1. And this is the situation they're in now where, like, 1 more card in hand, that's just the easiest lethal ever. Like, double Phoenix Fires, replace whatever else. Hit the 8 gates, just kill your opponent on the spot. Actually, that's a lie. They didn't have quite enough mana. But you can set up lethal. This is pretty good. Probably wins the game. I think as Rin here, you still back off. Like, don't attack, just go and stand over here. Like, avoid the Dream Shaper, Geomancer, just in case. Actually, that's a lie. This isn't going to die, is it? Although, no, you play around Bamboozle and OBS by doing that. There's just no reason to take the risk, really. Like, if these do get removed, and you're in this position, ooh, you definitely shouldn't attack. Good. Okay. It's much harder for Muzzy to do 12 than 10. Here I thought about attacking and not for so long. I don't think... So personally, I wouldn't have attacked like ever in this match. I would be on 16 here with the opponent on 9. Because after they made plays where they just kind of burned resources early on, you can actually just win on cards. If your life total is about 15 and they only have 2 cards in hand, they can't really kill you. So if you just play super, super conservatively, it's really hard for Muzzy to actually come back. Because they have no card draw. Like, you haven't seen any card draw in the previous game. I mean, obviously I have the luxury of knowing there's actual 0. But, as it happens, you still won the game, doesn't really matter. But you win regardless. Like, you know, if you'd never attacked, you'd still have lethal here with Falkius. Just because you're so far ahead on resources, you can afford to, you know, look for burst combos, set up card advantage plays. I think a couple turns ago, I would probably have also tried to play Sirocco. Like, if you just make a bunch of 3-2s and hide, they'd probably kill your opponent for you. That is true, taking heavy notes. Oh, awesome. I hope this is helpful. In general, against decks like that, just to expand on it. Actually, I'll go over this at the end, because I think this is interesting. I like to do, like, strategy short material wrap-ups at the end of these, and I think that'll be a good one. Playing against burst decks. Oh, was I too slow? I was too slow. Need so much APM to get through these. This is a pretty good opening hand for Muzzyrella here. So, we have a Scroll Bandit into turn 2 MDS Inner Focus, and turn 1 Scroll Bandit is harder for Vitruvian to punish than most factions, because in order to get rid of them, they rely on stuff like Rash's Curse plus Science First Switch, which is just really awkward. Double Bone Swarm or Bone Swarm Blood Tear Alchemist or whatever. None of which happen to be in Rin0's deck. Whether or not Muzzy knows that is another question, but... as usual, I think I like replacing first, just in case you draw a different 2-drop. Because you have the Inner Focus, there's no real need to run out your Scroll Bandit early. But of course, it doesn't really matter here. Science First Wish. It's a very strong play there. This is a really nice opening. This 3-4 contests the center of the board very, very strongly. And Rin's hand is looking stacked. It's a great hand. Even the kinematic projection might come in. So for Muzzy, I guess you replace first and hope to draw juxtaposition. I guess you can replace where you get off this. I've got real time on, but the animations are still clipping into each other like nobody's business. So I don't really like this sequencing so much. I think you want to replace first, look for Jux, and then you can use the Scroll Bandit to clear the 3-4 instead of using up a Phoenix Fire. Your opponent still takes the same amount of damage in theory, but you might be able to play something else as well, or you know, obviously save the Phoenix Fire for being 8 gates later. This is pretty strong here. Rin's now in a nice faraway spot where they can't take the 2 damage this turn. Inner Oasis, meh. I guess you're sort of obliged to Phoenix Fire. You can go move here, Phoenix Fire this, Scroll Bandit First Wish, and of course you can do the Scroll Bandit First Wish first to see if you get something that might remove the Falkius first. Like, if you get Inner Focus, you can do Inner Focus Jux for a kill, I think. Yeah, you move here and then swap them, and you don't have to use up a Phoenix Fire. Okay, this is interesting. Using the Heartseeker to body block? No. Just playing that instead of First Wish. Keeping the First Wish in hand. That makes sense, because you're exposing yourself less to removal this way. From Rin's side, there's no Blood of Air here, but the Sand Swirl Reader is looking pretty decent. You can just do like Sand Swirl, the Scroll Thief, Scroll Bandit. Keep calling it Scroll Thief. Kind of forces Reva to sit on the sand tile for a little while. So what do you do here? You hope to hit Inner Focus, I think, first off. So you can replace the Juxtaposition, probably. It isn't doing anything right now. Definitely don't replace the First Wish. First Wish is amazing. Okay, so you can do First Wish, Alcuin, First Wish. Make this into a 3-3, shoot this. Oh, that's not bad. Yeah, and then First Wish here. Yeah, that's probably better, actually. Just get rid of the sand tile nice and clean. There's no real need to make this a 3-3 yet. The downside is you miss out on the potential chance to Alcuin a First Wish. Because your opponent's probably going to play this now. What we got here? Metallurgist into Dream Shaper, looking for stuff to do. I'm not sure I'm as big a fan of this play, actually. I think I prefer Metallurgist, Falcius, Dissension. Like, leaving that 2-2 up is real bold. It's only little, and we haven't seen any killing edges, but it's still... like, it's a ranged threat. It's damage. More damage that you might struggle to deal with. Scroll Bandit, Inner Focus. Alcuin, Inner Focus. It's kind of medium. I don't like replacing the Alcuin there, actually. I think it's got a lot of utility on this board. Get a Mist Dragon Seal back, get an Inner Focus back. There's quite a lot you can do. So what's the best thing to kill with Scroll Bandit? You can kill the Falcius with it and a shot from the 2-2. Which is... or an attack with Reva, which is pretty good. You can, like... oh. You can kill this with it, which doesn't really do anything. So I guess what you can do is Inner Focus, Jux these, stand here, and then punch this, and it can't reach the Scroll Bandit. But it still kills your 2-2, which isn't very exciting. Oh, okay, Mist Dragon on this to kill that. And then body blocking from the opponent. That's pretty solid. I can get behind that. Oh. You want to stay where you are there. Yeah, that's nice, because it protects the... protects the Heartseeker. Don't know if I like this Healing Mystic. I think you can just afford to not play that and leave Reva here, doing the body blocking by hand, because cards in hand do matter, and Rin has a lot of life. Like, Rin's not taken a lot of damage yet, and this Blood of Air is very dominating. This is a good play. That's a very good draw. It's a good time to have that. Kinematic Projection showing its true utility here by doing absolutely nothing for this entire game. I think you definitely Dissension that, keep this thing alive from getting hit in the face. But I think I'd prefer to have these the other way around. Like, the Metallurgist is not that important. Yes, you have Kinematic in hand, but meh. Whereas your life total can and does matter. Even now, like, Rin is really far ahead here. Lots of cards in hand, lots of life. This is exactly the position you want to be in. You want to play very conservatively, play to run your opponent out of resources by forcing them to interact with your creatures instead of you. It is notable that Muzzy hasn't drawn a Lantern Fox in this game or the previous. Where, you know, Lantern Fox is such a big deal. Man, there's a lot of Cosmic Flash going around in this matchup. Just like 2/7s with Provoke everywhere. I think this seems like kind of a desperation play. Like, this doesn't really achieve anything, and you just put 2 cards and a Bloodborne spell down, and are probably just going to get removed. Oh god, this is brutal. Sandswirl for the massive punish. It's going to be very, very difficult for Rin to come back from this. There's a Scion Second Wish coming down here, maybe. Okay, Hillstone Golem triggered the sand tile. Prevents Raven from occupying it. This is very, very rough for Muzzyrella. Songhai can't really remove all this stuff. Maybe some swag plays here you can get. I mean, in focus, drawing a card is not really doing anything. Bamboozle. Bamboozle's okay. What you really need here is Eternity Painter. You've got like one turn to find an Eternity Painter. And then you can do Painter Bamboozle and be back in the game. Like, you'll have taken a bunch of damage, but that's probably your only out. It's an interesting line to escape. I'm not sure there's a better one. Maybe swapping it with the Sand Swirl and running this way. Gives you more room to back into. And potentially, like, your opponent can surround you again and then you can draw an Eternity Painter and clear them. This is really solid though. And this is exactly why I objected to the Mist Dragons and juxtapositions in the first place, because, you know, when you're going off with Scroll Bandit, they're pretty good, provided you get good cards from your opponent, which there've been some good ones and some bad ones. But when you're behind or when you're running low on cards, they really cost you, like really, really cost you. And I would much rather see like more card draw instead. Like Mizzy, there's no getting out of this. Like, these cards do actual nothing. In some ways, like, this sounds mean, but in some ways I'm almost glad that this has happened, because we've seen Muzzyrella's deck firing on all cylinders. Like in game 1 and in the previous round, it did some absolutely beautiful things where the, you know, the stars aligned, pieces came together. And then in the previous game, the next two games, like, it's just not been as exciting. The Scroll Bandit has kind of found some pump spells that haven't really done a lot. We've not seen, I mean, Lantern Fox with Cosmic Flash on it, that'd be hilarious, except the Sandsword Reader's just coming in and saving the day time and again. The Vitruvian hard removal really kind of obviates the, aha, I can use your pump spells against you plan. Because it just doesn't care, like, transformational removal and bounce is so strong against that kind of thing. And of course it's not Muzzy's fault that their opponent is playing a lot of pump spells and not that many copies of Blood of Air, but even so. This is pretty rough. And yeah, that hand basically does nothing. Inner Oasis just to slam the door even further. Second Wish on the Pando for the lols. Sure. Wait, did Rin just miss lethal? Yeah. Actually, playing the Inner Oasis actually cost them the lethal that turn. Because if the Dervish died, these would be able to get in. It's an interesting lesson, like sometimes you actually don't want to buff your creature's toughness. Because it is important that they don't body block each other. So there could have been I mean, it doesn't matter, right? Like, in terms of whether this game is winnable from Muzzyrella's side, the answer is a resounding no. But on the other hand, like, there will be some board states. If you're playing against Mantra and you do this, and they're on 1 and you're on 19, they can kill you. If they've got a hand that's, you know, decently big, you can die from there. And against 8 gates, if they've played Adjudicators or something, if they Rocket Up Terrors, you can take 19 in 1 turn, absolutely. So even when you're enormously far ahead, it's very important, especially in a tournament setting, not to play with your opponent too much, especially against bursty decks, combo decks, or decks with lots of AoE. Like if you're playing against Magmar there and they go Plasma Storm Earth Sphere, like, you're buggered. You just threw away all your cards. and such an enormous advantage. Like, you might still win, but it's going to get so much more unlikely.